Heyo everybody, Haku here with the next part of our read-through from Ao Shoujo Isekai Kaku, or Magical Girl Raising Project Unmarked, which is Arc 1. And I'm sorry if you can hear it in the background. It feels like my computer's fan is running really loudly right now, which is really weird because all I have up is the recording software and the actual light novel page, so I have no idea what's going on. But either way, I'm going to try to record all this in one go so I don't have to make a jump cut in the middle of the video, but we'll just have to see how things go. It's only a 22-page chapter, so I should be fine to just blow through it in probably 30-40 minutes, hopefully. But if you guys can't tell, man, I look like a mess. I'm not feeling very well today. I was feeling worse yesterday, but I'm feeling a bit better today. Yeah, hopefully I'll be okay to get through this, but I may need to drink a lot of water, and I'm gonna look a mess. But either way, it's Chapter 4, Night of the Magical Girls, and let's see what we've got going on here. I'm just gonna, because of the fan running so loudly and stuff, I'm gonna have to keep a check pretty closely on the recording and make sure it doesn't mess up because my computer's trying to use too much energy at one time. But either way, Chapter 4, Night of the Magical Girls. Lapicelle is dead. Lapicelle is dead, and there were no eliminations this week, which can only lead to one conclusion. You won't be eliminated regardless of your candy amount if someone else dies within the week. You won't be eliminated if you kill someone. One particular magical girl knew this fact. Soon everyone would know this fact. Soon everyone will kill to survive. I take it everything is progressing well. Yeah. This time you're using social games to gather young people. Thanks to that medium, we have a lot of people gathered, Pone. Most of them are young. They're hot-blooded. They have a lot of spirit, Pone. Okay. The social game was actually Fav's idea. As much as Fav liked to give Clamberry the credit, it wasn't her. Their relationship had mostly been like this since the two first met each other. Honestly, Clamberry is starting to get rather bored of staying in here. Surely Fav felt annoyed at her too. They had a long history together. Clamberry laid on her bed and turned on her magical phone. She went to the game, Magical Girl Raising Project. In the menu were a list of 5 items. I really like their relationship and how it's portrayed a lot better in the light novels, where it feels like Clamberry isn't some, evil mastermind. It feels like how it really is. She's just one of the girls trapped in this survival game. Sure, she wants to find and fight strong opponents and stuff, but really she is just as much trapped in this because of Fav as everyone else. Because Fav really had the idea for this, and she really she couldn't really say no. There was no option for her. But either way, next we have the listing of the 5 items, it would seem. 4-dimensional bag, a backpack that's able to fit anything, even something the size of a human. Because it's 4-dimensional, it also has an infinite storage space. Invisibility cloak, a cloak that renders the wearer invisible. It even obscures the wearer's scent. Not even dogs could detect them. Weapon, a unique weapon given to a magical girl. The weapon will not break from even the strongest magical skill. Select any weapon type you'd like, even name it if you want. Healing medicine, medicine to heal the body and maximize its endurance. It's not an insta-heal potion, however, so do not misunderstand. Also, excessive use of the medicine is poisonous. 10 tablets provided. Lucky Rabbit's Foot will increase your luck when in big trouble. However, you shouldn't rely on it too much, as it's still up to you to be safe. Best used as a trump card, last resort. These items are actually quite common within the land of magic. However, since they're used for more radical reasons here, for example killing, this means that possession of them is technically illegal. So now, the magical girls can't turn back from this game. Clamberry turned on her magical phone. Fav. Yes, master. Do you have a question, Pone? And here, after the second page, I want to go in with another thing is, I'm really wondering how future, of course don't spoil me guys, but I'm wondering how future arcs are going to go. Are we going to go into the magic or land of magic where the weapons and stuff that were like the one we saw in the anime are just common and everywhere, and the medicine and stuff is common? Or we're gonna have more survival games or whatever. It seems like, again, no spoilers, but it seems like the future arcs are gonna be more survival games and stuff. It's like there's just so much different stuff that this universe could have, other than survival games. So I'm interested for where the series can potentially go in different arcs. Because I'm assuming some will be survival games and some will get into other stuff, and it'll be really good with the overall narrative. At least the way the first arc is looking, it looks like there will be a bigger, better, like, this is a good narrative for this small survival game story, and then there's going to be this bigger overarching narrative over it. I hate to compare it to the Hunger Games because I didn't like them very much, but sort of like that, where the games themselves trying to survive, that was a good narrative, and then over top of that there's another narrative, is what I'm seeing this turning into, only not bad like that. Wouldn't these items prevent me from finding a worthy opponent? With these items you have, the weak can defeat the strong, no? I think that if you manage to die to someone like that, then you're not really that strong in reality, Pone. True, Fav said while twirling sprinkles falling off of him. Besides, magical girls aren't just your regular witches, Pone. In the land of magic, they don't select people on some screening test. These guys have the potential to become heroes. If you die because you couldn't beat their trump card, then you failed as a hero, Pone, Fav said with a twisted smile. Say, Master, why are you so intent on finding a strong opponent, Pone? Exposing yourself will only attract more danger to you. Surviving is much harder and requires cleverness. You think so? Well, at least with where you're going, you get your wish to fight at your full power. Also, I get to see a wonderful spectacle, Pone. It's a nice arrangement we have. Agreed. I'd also like to have a fight worthy of a spectacle. Ah, well, what are we waiting for? Fav laughed without changing his expression. So these items, are they free? Magical Girl Raising Project doesn't charge any money, Pone. Everything in the game is free. So what are these numbers below the items? The bag costs 10, the cloak 25, the weapon costs 5. Wow, the weapon was cheap. The medicine costs 3, and the rabbit's foot costs 6. Those are price numbers. They're definitely not for money, Pone. Then what am I paying? Your life, Pone. You lose 10 years of your life for the bag, 25 for the cloak, and so on. In order for a magical item like these to be created, it's necessary to sacrifice a bit of your lifespan, Pone. Still, in these circumstances, I'd say it's trivial to sacrifice 10 years of your life if you might die in a week without the item. Snow White was in an alley somewhere no one could find her. There were mostly strays and drunks in this alley. She felt alone in the world, so she came to a place where she could hide from the world and her troubles. If Snow White was trying to fit in, she fit in perfectly with the alley. Her clothes were dirty, she had bags under her eyes, and she hasn't slept in a while. She wiped some sweat off of her forehead with the back of her hand and sat down slumped. Sota Kishibe's funeral had long passed. The cause of death was apparently ruled a traffic accident. They say he was hit by a car. They say it was a stolen car that hit him. The culprit hadn't been caught. As she thought of that again, tears started flowing again. She wiped them away. Her eyes were red. She had tried not to think about Lapicelle ever since his death, but it just comes back to her. It's exhausting for her. Memories start to flow of Lapicelle. The time they met at the steel tower for the first time, he told her who he really was. Snow White had kept his secret from the other magical girls even until now. Then she remembered when he pledged to be her knight, to protect her. He fulfilled that promise when he fought off the other magical girls. He fought 3 of them at once. She remembered the descriptions of Lapicelle in the Magical Girl Sightings website, the Magical Knight. The one story that Snow White remembered, Lapicelle bravely saved a group of children from being hit by a speeding car. They were playing soccer and went into the streets. Lapicelle put his body before the car and stopped it. Since then, the children have been so happy that they constantly post to the website about him. Deeper memories started flowing, childhood memories. Watching anime with Sota, sitting in the living room together side by side. elementary school. Snow White remembered when she told Sota, "I'm going to become a magical girl in the future." She remembered Sota's jealous expression. "Well, I'm going to be one too." The memories came and went. There was no order to it. Everything just flowed. It's all she had left to remember him. "So-chan, So-chan," she cried silently. "Hey, moping around all day isn't useful, Pone. You can't save anyone by crying. Are you going to let Lapicel's sacrifice be meaningless?" Hearing the word sacrifice, Snow White's body stiffened. The person that killed Sota, they say it was a criminal who robbed a car. He hasn't been caught yet. But Snow White wondered, was it even a regular person? It's a horrible thought, but it makes no sense that Sota could be killed by just some random guy. Meaning, did a magical girl kill him? One of them, one of the remaining 13 magical girls, actually killed her best friend. The thought made her angry. If she only had these items, she'd... Don't be scared, Pone. At least do it for Lapicel's sake. Snow White opened the application. She went to the start menu. She tapped on the item selection screen. She saw the list of 5 items and their costs. So, my lifespan for these, huh? Snow White's breathing turned heavy. She felt the ground shaking. Was it her imagination? She trembled as she hovered over the download button. She'll lose her lifespan. 3 years at minimum, 25 at maximum. What would Lapicel do? The invisibility cloak, that would cost her 25 years of her life. If she had it, she could escape from unnecessary fights. As she watched over it, the words "sold out" suddenly appeared. She looked at the other items. They were also sold out. Ah well, I told you it's first come first serve, Pone. Snow White dropped her magical phone. It made a loud clink as it hit concrete. She stared into the sky, her face pale and tense. Okay, at this scene break, the more we learn about all the magical girls, like, you guys probably know, not, like, I don't want to speak as, like, with any spoilers because I've seen the anime, because I want to, it to be a surprise if any of you haven't actually read the series and are reading along as I'm reading along. I don't want to spoil any of it. But man, the more you find out about all the different magical girls, the more you're like, wow, very, very few of them deserve to die. I would say, in my opinion, Swim Swim deserved, if you think she's going to survive or not, I'd say of all the people, Swim Swim kind of deserves what she's getting. The Peaky Angels kind of deserve what they're getting or possibly getting. Calamity Mary definitely deserves what she is or isn't getting. But all the rest of them, it's like they really did not deserve to die. It's so sad. And it almost makes me think, is there some way that the Land of Magic, if they can take away lifespan, is there a future arc where they're going to bring characters back to life? Because with a series like this, I could kind of almost see that, them bringing characters back for, like, some sort of other arc or something. I could see that. But either way, moving on. The weapon, the invisible cloak, the healing medicine. Swim Swim, Tama, and the Peaky Angels bought these just now. They also wanted to buy the 4-dimensional bag and the Lucky Rabbit's foot, but those were sold out when they went to it. Gah, I told you to be faster. I was fast, sis. When the Peaky Angels told Swim Swim that the downloaded items were for sale, Swim Swim quickly asked Fav what the prices were. After receiving his answer, she gathered the other 3 magical girls. She had Tama purchase the weapon. The purchase of the medicine was given to the Peaky Angels. However, they were reluctant. They didn't want to give up any of their lifespan. So Swim Swim immediately purchased the invisibility cloak, taking away 25 years of her life as initiative. This amazed the Peaky Angels, who felt bad. They decided to do it using the rock, paper, scissors, and Uniel, who lost, purchased the medicine. At first, Swim Swim and the rest were unconvinced of Fav's statement that the items took your lifespan. However, when they purchased it, as soon as they tapped the button, they felt a burning sensation in their spine. The intensity depended on the lifespan lost. Thus, Swim Swim felt the most pain from that. Clearly, something happened. Nevertheless, Swim Swim was confident in her decision. I like this. I don't recall that in the anime. I don't recall them actually feeling pain from buying the stuff. Tama asked her a question. Swim Swim-Chan, aren't you afraid of dying 25 years earlier than you're supposed to? I am. I'm terrified. So then, if you're scared, why did you do it? Because I'm your leader. I have to make a good example. I have to make the hard choices. The three magical girls were amazed. They respected Swim. Despite her fears, she would be willing to make these decisions. Tama was never the bravest person, but she was confident. Confident in Swim and confident in her plans. Whenever she's faced with a hard decision, Tama always asked herself, what would Ruler do? It's no secret that Tama admires Ruler. Ruler was her mentor, and was like a guardian to her. When she was in kindergarten, her teachers were her source of protection and care. It's the same in elementary school. Now she's in middle school, and after being a magical girl, that role was given to Ruler. Ruler taught her how to live as a magical girl, and even offered protection for Tama, who couldn't survive in the outside world regardless. Sometimes Ruler would get angry and scold her, but Tama didn't think Ruler hated her. She would sometimes yell at Tama, maybe even hit her, but if Ruler really hated Tama, then she would have kicked her out of the temple. Tama wouldn't be able to do anything about it. She'd certainly be too scared to say no. There are also times when Ruler genuinely shows affection for Tama. When Ruler pets her or praises her, Tama felt loved. But now things have changed. Swim had eliminated Ruler. Tama didn't know the reasons. Tama was even a part of the plan. Tama felt guilty. She remembered the day Swim entrusted her with 35,000 candies to keep secret from Ruler. At first Tama asked Swim why, but she wouldn't answer. Tama was scared. Was she betraying Ruler? But then the Peaky Angels immediately agreed. Backstabbing meanie, magic cool. Those were the words they said. Tama didn't know the extent of it. Tama didn't want to get involved, so she just complied. Now Ruler is dead. Swim is their new leader, and so far she also seems very protective of Tama. Unlike Ruler, Swim never really gets mad at Tama. They were both Ruler's apprentices, and so they knew each other. Swim used to be quiet, but ever since she became the leader, she's taking initiative. Tama wished she could do that. Now she's here. She had just traded 5 years of her life to purchase a weapon that she gave to Swim. Swim is holding the weapon now. It was like a large halberd. Large, pretty long reach, too. However, the blade didn't look like a halberd blade. Instead, it looked like a gigantic knife. The length of this weapon was about 1 meter long. The Peaky Angels looked at it, amazed. What you gonna name it? Yeah, what's the weapon's name? Swim pondered a bit. She took a moment to think of a proper name, and then she answered, Ruler. Named after their former leader. It seemed fitting. I don't remember this at all either from the anime. How dare she name it Ruler? Swim, you'd murdered her, you dick. The Peaky Angels didn't complain. They just stared at it as Swim began practicing with it, twirling it around. She had already gotten used to the weapon. Swim had the weapon, the Peaky Angels had the medicine, and Tama got the invisibility cloak. Swim paid for the cloak with 25 years of her life, but gave it to Tama while she took the weapon, which cost 5. Tama questioned her, why did you take the cheaper one instead of mine? Swim glanced at Tama. Because the weapon suits me and my powers. The cloak suits you and your powers. You work better when you're not seen. This was true. Tama had always been positioned somewhere hidden when using her power, at least when Ruler was in charge. At least back when Ruler was in charge. Swim went over to Tama and stroked her head. Tama felt joy. It's good that you ask questions. Don't worry, I won't let you down, said Swim. If this was Ruler, she would have said something like, you fool, and probably scolded her. This was a nice change. But still, Tama didn't feel right. These items, they should have been used to help people, but now, it looks like the magical girls are ready to fight. Swim is determined, and the Peaky Angels are fine with it. Tama shuddered. What has she gotten herself into? I love the way that the light novel can just talk about the way that the characters feel and stuff, because it adds so much more. Like, I always love Tama from the show, and just seeing what she's thinking here makes it all the more better. Sorry, I really needed that. A large, finely decorated carpet, as well as a nicely high-class place, candles, chandeliers, and finely crafted tables. There was also wine, and of course, this was a smoking room. Not only that, but there was a couch that looked to be something out of a royal palace. Truly, something like this can come only out of royalty. But that's not the case. This was a VIP lounge at a local club. The small robotic magical girl looked around for her mentor, the one waiting for her, Calamity Mary. To get here, the robotic magical girl had to use the back door, to which the bouncers would allow her entry. You probably wouldn't see someone this short enter a place like this normally, but she was given special permission. This magical girl's name was Magicaloid 44. Magicaloid 44, or Magicaroid. I'm gonna go Magicaloid just because it's easier to say, but Magicaroid is probably probably a more accurate translation to the actual word than the anime subs were. Magicaloid's just easier to say though, so I'm gonna stick with that. Looked exactly like a small robotic android. She had some metallic horn-like objects growing out from her hair, but that could also be explained away as her hair. To most people, she probably looked like a child cosplaying as a robot. In truth, it was more like she was a robot that looked human. As a magical girl, she certainly didn't feel like she was human on the outside. She had a jetpack and a satchel on her back, and her skin was metallic, so you couldn't possibly think she was a human at all. Nevertheless, she didn't care much about what people think. She arrived at the VIP club room to meet her mentor, and that was all that mattered. Truth be told, there were a lot of rumors about Calamity Mary. She was rumored to have ties with the Mafia, for example. Apparently, according to those rumors, Calamity Mary constantly conducts raids on important targets, and since she's a magical girl, hardly anything could beat her. At least that's what Magicaloid 44 reads on the Magical Girl Sightings website. The Western Gunman Magical Girl sits in the sofa, cigarette in her mouth, as she pours some alcoholic beverage into her glass. Senpai, you look well today. Flattery will get you nowhere, kid. Straight to the point as always. Calamity Mary drank the glass. Magicaloid 44 couldn't tell what kind of alcoholic beverage it was, since she's never had one before, but was still amazed. Magical girls don't usually get poisoned by normal human means, so intoxicating the body with alcohol would be useless. So was smoking, since you could barely feel the nicotine in the smoke. Calamity Mary must have done this a lot in her human form. Old habits die hard. Senpai, have you heard about the latest news? You're talking about the items for download? Yeah, I did. What'd you get? I purchased nothing, Senpai. I am fearful of reducing my lifespan. She couldn't lie to Calamity Mary, so why should she hide the truth from her anyway? Tsk, makes sense, I suppose. I bought the bag. The others were already taken. Magicaloid 44 felt a bit ashamed when Calamity Mary told her that. She should have bought something. Her mentor would risk her life. Perhaps it's best to change the subject. Did you also hear about what happened in the chat last time, Senpai? I did. Lapicel died, right? Yes, but that's not the most important part. No one was eliminated, Senpai. Okay, before I continue, I like this as well, the relationship with Magicaloid and Calamity Mary, because in the anime it seemed like they really didn't have much of any real connection, and they really didn't even seem to like each other or anything. It was more, in the anime, it just seemed like Calamity Mary was pretty strong and badass and stuff, so Magicaloid's like, maybe if I hang around her I won't die. But in the light novels, we don't see the connection between Magicaloid so much with the other magical girls, where it makes it seem more like, it makes it... Hold on, I just remembered something weird. I'll get to it in a sec. But the light novels make it seem more like she only really knows Calamity Mary that deeply, so she doesn't really care about her being a dick or anything. She's just sticking with her because she knows her, and that she's the one that taught her to be a magical girl, and that makes a lot more sense logically. One thing I just remembered, though, is I thought that Magicaloid was actually Sister Nana's, or Sister Nana was Magicaloid's mentor in the anime. Did they change that or something, or am I just remembering incorrectly? Either way, I'll keep reading to see if it gets talked about or anything. I get the implications, in fact. I quite enjoy it, said Calamity Mary with a nasty smile. She blew a puff of smoke from her cigarette and grinned. If eliminations won't occur due to the death of a magical girl instead, then magical candy collecting doesn't mean anything. if you kill someone, you're safe. Already, Calamity Mary was plotting on who to go after first. Swim Swim and her little posse, Top Speed and Ripple, maybe Sister Nana and Weiss Winter Prison. All of these magical girls had formed up into teams. It became important. Going solo wouldn't be a death sentence at this point. Even Calamity Mary... Or, going solo would be a death sentence at this point. Even Calamity Mary had Magicaloid 44 now. Still, there are magical girls that are still alone, or in Snow White's case, forcefully made to be alone. Snow White, Clamberry, and the new rookie magical girl whose name Calamity Mary forgot. Senpai, if you'd like to give me a mission, I do not mind. Working together with you has led to my survival after all. Calamity Mary began eyeing her as if to sniff out any possible lies. The woman was fierce with her stare. Magicaloid 44 knew about Calamity Mary's randomness, so she wasn't comfortable with this. Calamity Mary grinned. So tell me, what did you pull out of your little satchel today? Magicaloid's magical skill was rather unorthodox. Her satchel contains 444,444,444,444 items from the future, and her magical skill is to take one useful item from that satchel. The choice is random, and she really wouldn't know how best to use it. For example, she once pulled out an insect love potion. She had no clue on Earth what she was supposed to do with it. Today she pulled out a weapon rack. A bit more useful, but not as useful for this situation. Interesting pull. Well, let's discuss our strategy then, Weapon rack. Interesting. Of all the magical girls, Ruler's little group is nothing. Okay. Sister Nana procrastinates in her love and peace speeches. Winter Prison and Clamberry seem like they're on each other's throats. Snow White, she's pretty useless on her own. And what about me, Magicaloid 44? You're my little minion. And what about me, Magicaloid 44? You're my little minion. Here to do what I ask obediently, correct? Then our cooperation is still established. Of course, with a test. A test? I need to see your loyalty. A test will do. It's a simple test. You only need to do one thing. And what would that be? Kill one of the magical girls. It benefits us both. Calamity Mary said that with a smile. Think of it as peace of mind. Make it flashy, grand, something that won't be forgotten. And now we get a nice illustration here. Hold on, let me check what page we're on. 15. Nice illustration here for Magicaloid 44 and Calamity Mary. Again, even with the, I like the detail used in these illustrations a lot. It looks nice. Alright. Moving along to page 16. Road signs. About 3 of them separated far apart. All have concrete bases. Her kunai were flying in unnatural directions, each time slashing the road signs. It was as simple as cutting butter. In about 3 minutes all the road signs were cut off. The concrete bases ripped off and put in a basket. Ripple came and collected them herself. Ripple's magical skill will never miss a target with her shurikens. Apparently works on anything... will never miss a target with her shurikens. Apparently works on anything she threw, not just her shurikens. Regardless of how she throws the shurikens or the object, as long as she has a target in mind, they will seek it out no matter what, and change directions accordingly. Top Speed's broomstick, Rapid Swallow, allowed them to travel fast and collect them. The road signs have been bothering people in the district for a while, so in a way this was technically helping them. They'll probably earn less than 100 magical candies for this, though, since it's not a direct help. Plus, this is really stretching it. Okay, everything's collected. Put 'em in the back. Wait for what? No, not wait. Can your broomstick handle it? Oh, you mean the concrete. Don't worry, my broomstick's a tough girl. She can handle it. Reluctantly, Ripple placed the extremely heavy basket on Rapid Swallow. Alright, let's fly. The broomstick flew at an extremely fast speed, with Ripple in the back seat, however. It looks like it's a bit slower than usual. Maybe it's just air resistance, hehe. Ripple grumbled in an I told you so tone. She tightened her grip on Top Speed's waist, frustrated at the fact that Top Speed didn't heed her advice. Hey now, don't get cranky. We still got the job done. Besides, my broom's still pretty fast. That's not it. It sucks that we didn't get any of the items, but I mean, I didn't exactly think paying with our lifespan was a good deal. When Ripple and Topspeed browsed the item category, all of them were sold out. They contacted each other about it and met up. Their partnership and activities as magical girls have started to become noticed. In the Magical Girl sighting site, there's always talk and pictures of the witch and the ninja always being together. It irritated Ripple because she wished for a more reliable partner. Topspeed was not her idea of a reliable partner. She bowed down and acted humble to Calamity Mary, and she didn't get any items for them, and now she didn't even listen to Ripple's advice about the weight. It's all starting to add up to Ripple's frustration. Since we don't have any of the items, we could easily be killed, you know. Oh, and who exactly is going to try to kill us? Other magical girls? Haha, very funny. You realize that we can easily escape if anyone tries to attack us, right? This broomstick isn't just for show, you know. You're saying we're safe in the sky. There are magical girls who can fly, you know this, right? Sure, Magicaloid 44, the Peaky Angels, none of them can catch up to the speed of my broomstick. I'm the fastest magical girl in the city. As Topspeed says that, she places her hands on the handles of her broomstick motorcycle hybrid. Ripple couldn't see Topspeed's expression, but her words were spoken with a different, softer tone. Don't worry, Ripple. I'm not going to let both of us die. Remember, I still got a promise to keep. I'm staying alive for 6 more months, then maybe I'm fine with dying. Again, the 6 months thing. Ripple tried to ask Topspeed what happens in 6 months, but she's never given a proper answer. Regardless, the two magical girls fly silently as the moonlight shone bright in the sky. The back alley was silent. Snow White tensed up and looked around. Every noise or scratch kept her on edge. She heard a noise stepping on concrete. Something was nearby, but she couldn't see what, or who. She began to nervously sweat. Lapicella's not coming. It's not him. Nobody should be coming for her. Then who is it? The stress was too much for her. She looked around, but everything looked like shadows in the dark night sky. She stood up and ran. Every step she made was filled with heart-wrenching terror. As she ran she ran as fast as her body can take her. The moonlight made her shadow larger. Finally, a dark corner. She looked back. Then she heard it. Rhythmic tapping on the concrete. Thump, thump, thump. Footsteps. She was afraid. Finally she saw the source of the noise. It was a girl. About her height, just a little bit shorter. Stockings, socks, shoes, dress, bow tie. She looked like Alice from Alice in Wonderland, except she was in all black. Her eyes looked glazed and dead, and she slightly hunched forward in her posture, and had a creepy bunny doll in her right hand just kind of dangling there. Finally, I found you. Snow White's knees were shaking. She tried hard not to let it show. The Black Alice, she looked like she was happy. Her eyes had joy behind them, and the edges of her lips curled up to form a smile. She stepped forward. 1 step, 2 step, 3 step. She suddenly stopped. The girl in black just stopped. Her head started to tilt, her eyes wide with shock. At first it tilted, then it continued, and it fell off her neck. Blood vessels and arteries can be seen from her neck stump. Even part of the bone of the spine is jutting out. Blood squirts everywhere, covering Snow White in it. The Black Alice's body leans forward and falls down with a thump, as her decapitated head rolls to a stop. It all happened so fast, Snow White couldn't even blink. Her eyes widen, and she stares at the head of Black Alice. The pool of blood widens as it continues to squirt from the stump of Black Alice's neck. Behind her is the perpetrator, a robotic magical girl, short, plastic-looking eyes, standing within the blood of the Black Alice. Well, I guess this counts as saving you, technically, she says in a robotic tone of voice. Snow White still hasn't blinked. Her brain hasn't quite processed what just happened before her. We've met in the chats before. I am Magicaloid 44. The robotic magical girl had a red satchel that she was carrying. Her eyes are neutral, but the way she acts so calm after having just decapitated the Black Alice. This was a good use of today's technological pull. My magical skill can be useful at times, you should know. I originally considered killing you, Snow White, but then I saw this new magical girl and you seemed troubled by her, so I chose the better option. I have no obligation to kill you now, so you may relax. Magicaloid looked at the decapitated head of the girl and kicked it. The head rolled slowly as it stopped in front of Snow White, face up, as the eyes of the Black Alice stared dead into her. Snow White was in a trance. She couldn't keep her eyes off the murder that had just occurred. Well, I guess it's time for us to part ways. It was nice while it lasted, but we must part ways. Farewell, Snow White. The robotic magical girl raised her right arm. Crunch. Gah. Magicaloid 44 looked down at her chest. There was an arm that protruded from it. No, it wasn't protruding. That arm passed through her chest. Blood from Magicaloid 44's chest splattered all over Snow White's face, her outfit now more red than white. Magicaloid's chest had been punched through with an arm, but who? Oh, the arm that stabbed through Magicaloid 44 was the Black Alice. Her body stood up behind Magicaloid 44 and it punched her. The body, with the neck stump, with blood still pouring, is standing up. Her head was still below Snow White, staring at her. Snow White, who had been silent this whole time, had hit her limit. She tried to let out a scream, but she can't seem to do it. Her eyes rolled back and she collapsed. Everything became black. Snow White woke up screaming. She jolted awake and sat at her bedroom. Her bedroom? Her body was sweating almost everywhere. Cold sweat? Nightmare? The pillow was also moist. She was in her pajamas. "Koyuki, are you okay?" asked her mother from outside. I'm fine." Was that really a dream? The dream felt so real. It can't just be a dream, could it? Snow White realized that her hand was clutching something. Slowly she opened up her hand. She was holding a fluffy rabbit's foot. Magical Girl Weekend Chat Part 4. Fav. Everyone seems to be mastering their items, Pone. Good job, Pone. But, since no one really shows up live for the chats anymore, I don't think there's any use for introductions, Pone. Right, on to the important things. The elimination this week. Unfortunately, just like last week, this elimination was not due to low magical candy, but due to a death. Magicaloid 44 has unfortunately died. Rather gruesomely, Pone. But don't let that discourage you. Everyone should always do their best, Pone. Oh, and a special thank you for Clanberry for always supplying the chat with background music. Well, see you around, Pone. Man, that was really good. I loved the way they went into the description of the viscera and all that. But one thing I will say that I think was maybe a step down, or not a step down, but one thing I think the anime did good to add was there was one line that I remember being really good in the anime that I'm surprised wasn't here, actually, because there were a lot more good lines here. But the line I'm talking about is after Magicaloid kills Hardcore Alice. I really liked the line where she was like, so I just killed a person. I was expecting to feel something like disgust, or I don't remember the actual line, but she was like, I expected to feel something like uneasiness, fear, but all I feel right now was disgust, or something like that. And it was such a good line, like, showing where she was like, I really thought that I couldn't kill anyone, I'd be scared to kill anyone, I'd be nervous, but now that I've done it, I don't really feel anything. I loved that line that she had, and I'm actually really surprised that it wasn't here. Also, I like that you're noticing a bit, if you've watched the anime and then read the light novels, you notice where the stuff from episodes that they threw into the anime comes in, and I'm glad that they did that with the anime. I do think that it added a lot more to the characters. But either way, that is it for this week. So, if you did like it, comment down there. I'll be back next Tuesday with the next one. Comment down there and tell me what you thought of this chapter, what you thought of my thoughts on it. Subscribe for my Shoujo Weeks, aka Haku, and a ton of other things on the channel. Just tons of them. Follow on Twitter if you want. I'll try to keep you updated there and stuff for the channel. That is it. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.